Okay, so we're going to get started with doing this foundation lemon peel stitch. We are going to, of course, first make a slip knot. Leave a tail long enough to rejoin to or seam end. And I would say, more than 2 inches, basically. You are going to chain one to begin the foundation lemon peel stitch. You are going to, this is one of the most difficult parts of this stitch, you are going to go into the back bump of that chain you just made, yarn over, pull up one loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop to make your first chain, and yarn over and complete your single crochet. You are then going to complete a double crochet foundation stitch. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the chain you just completed, yarn over and pull up one loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop to make your next chain, and then complete your double crochet. Yarn over, pull it through 2 loops on the hook twice. And that is it. So basically what you're going to do back and forth, and I'm going to do a few more. Again, the hardest part is going to be making sure you work into that back bump of the first foundation single crochet that you're making. However, to make the foundation lemon peel stitch, all you're doing is a foundation single crochet and then a foundation double crochet. So we just finished a double. And so we're going to go back into the chain we just made. Okay. Yarn over and pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over and make our next chain by yarning over and pulling through the first loop on the hook. That leaves us with 2. And we're going to complete our single crochet by yarning over and pulling through the 2 loops on our hook. We are going to complete the lemon peel sequence by doing a double crochet foundation stitch, yarn over, insert your hook into the last chain that you just completed, yarn over, pull up 1 loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 to complete your double crochet. These are pairings. The lemon peel stitch is a pairing sequence. A pairing sequence, by that I just mean you're doing a single crochet and then a double crochet. Single, double, single, double. The other thing is you're going to end up with an even number of stitches, and you're going to end on the opposite of what you started. So we started with a single crochet. We're going to end with a double. We are going to continue working this to the desired or required length. So you guys know everything I do is measurement based. For those of you who are in class, I will add additional notes. If you are a student of mine and we're using this stitch, I will add additional notes underneath the posting of this video. Okay, so hopefully you guys find this helpful. As you are venturing into using the lemon peel stitch, if you've been hanging around following me, you know that I am in love with this stitch for crochet garments. I think it has another name. Please do not ask me what it is. But I'm also very anti-chaining in garments, to begin garments. And so I had to figure out how to make a foundation row using this stitch sequence. And that is what I have just shared with you. Again, just to summarize, recap, we are simply making a foundation single crochet followed by a foundation double crochet. Making a foundation single crochet followed by a foundation double crochet. That is how you make the lemon peel stitch. Now, to check your work, this is the last thing I'll share, to check to make sure that you aren't like doing 2 singles or 2 doubles. If you slightly stretch this, you see how they're automatically paired off in sets of 2. If you mess up, it won't do that. So you won't see it kind of grouped in 2 stitches together. So that's a good quick way to know whether or not you need to look at what you've done so far. But if you have any questions that I can assist with or that are not beyond the purview of what I offer for free, please by all means drop it in the comments. If you are a student currently in a class viewing this, then drop it in the comments because you know I'm here to help. Okay, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. Okay, so I am live. This is an update and to prepare you for what you can expect coming up. So these are my mock-up. I did a couple different things and I'll tell you why later. I'll mention it today, but I'll definitely remind you later. So these are the instructions. I'm going to start a new pair. and that will be what you guys are instructed from the pair that I start. Now, first, what I want to show you is, and I did this intentionally, I'm debating on whether I'm going to take down one leg. So when we get to this point, I'm going to tell you that you will have the option to do either 2 rounds before you start this sequence or 3. This is the difference in how it looks in the front. This is the difference in how it looks in the back. So just keep that in mind, or come back to this video when we get to that point. The next thing that you guys will expect, so I want to give you an overview. I just feel like we tend to learn better when we see what we're ultimately creating. Now, some of you may not know that this is like, there's actually a function to why I'm making this yellow and red. So with the other pair that I do with you all to teach you how to make them, they will not have a color change like these do. I will be teaching you some decreasing. I'll also be teaching you about, I'm not going to name this stitch just because I had to change quite a bit of it to make it work in the round. And so as far as I'm concerned, it now belongs to me. And so I won't be referencing where I got it from. So these are the warm weather bonus pants that I told you guys I would be showing you. I have done a lot of frogging in order to get them. I wanted to make sure, I always do that though, and I'm sorry for the amount of time that it takes. However, I wanted to make sure that it was workable so that I didn't have you guys frogging in the interim. Now, just to give you a recap, and this is very similar, the beginning of these pants is very, very similar to what we have done with the graphed out joggers. And I say that in regards to, we will be working this beginning panel and we'll be adding down as well as up. You will notice that there's a little detail, extra like front post business going up here. We will be using a lemon peel stitch for the stretch. So I just want to show you, these are not skin tight. I could put my whole fist and move around up in these puppies, in spite of the fact that, as you can see, they lay very nicely onto my derriere and my person, and they fit very nicely. The other thing, when we get up to this point, and again, this applies to the graphed out joggers as well, please, please, please recognize that you should have to work these on. The alternative to doing that, you can make it where it ties. That's completely optional. For crochet, I tend to prefer not to do that, which is why you will always see me doing shaping intentionally with my pieces. So again, we will be starting our panel following the same instructions. The difference will be the stitch that we're using. So we aren't doing half double crochet like our graphed out joggers. We'll be doing the lemon peel stitch. The next thing that I'll be posting, I may do it today, is just to start you guys off. What I'm going to post is how to work a foundation lemon peel row. So what do I mean by that? Now, foundation stitches, I had you guys really focusing in on mastering your half double crochet foundation stitches. And the reason, so there's no different here. If you've been hanging around me or following me for a while, you know that I'm really big on no chains when it comes to garments. It just decreases the longevity and integrity of the overall piece. This is no exception. So I will be posting, I have created, figured out how to work the lemon peel stitch as a foundation stitch. So I will be posting a video showing you guys how to do that. And then from there, we'll be doing what we were doing with the graphed out joggers, which is you will be following the same measurement guide. So I will show you how to increase at the ends of your lemon peel row. I will show you where you're doing your increases. We'll talk a little bit about why, if you guys want to, after I finish my first row. Again, mine are going to be, I'm going to do the tutorial for the foundation row in probably this yellow. I think I have a small amount left, and it's bright enough for me to really be able to show you how to do it. But my next pair are probably going to be black. That's my favorite colors, for those who don't know. These pants, you will have the option, and I'll tell you how to keep going for them to be longer if you desire for them to be longer. Mine are specifically for a pair of shoes and to be paired with a sweater, a lemon peel sweater, off the shoulder sweater for my class. That I'm also doing. So I'm kind of killing multiple birds with one stone, if you will. So at this point, we are about to start on these pants. The instructions for these pants will be added. I'm going to try to tag them all, any post that I make that references these, with hashtag bonus pants. So be on the lookout for posts coming through with regards to those. I wanted to get to this point. I will start posting more because my 2 pairs of graph style joggers are not completely finished. However, I wanted to get these on a good running start before I jump back into those, just because most of you know I've gone through a bunch of stuff, but moving specifically, I'm just not really getting back into a groove. But I wanted to absolutely get these to the point where, you know, you all are able to really work them. The biggest piece with these, if you don't know what alternating rounds is, we're going to talk about all of that, but I did, you know, adjust a diagram of this stitch pattern. This is a 3-row stitch pattern. Oh, just so you know, these are not tight. These are not skin tight at all. We will make it kind of tight right at the end using some reverse single crochet stitches, and that'll be optional, of course. I wanted to hurry up and come live with you guys. I did see April. Hi, honey. I did see that you posted today, which was so funny because I just literally, if you've been on Instagram, you guys will see I am actually finishing up my second leg on the reel that I just made. And then I came on Facebook to come live and I saw your message. So it's just like kismet, like everything kind of flowed together. So with these pants, we are absolutely going to be getting started on those soon. On my second pair, I haven't decided. I'll probably put these on another couple times. I think I like the 2 rounds added more than the 3 rounds added. It's tricky because I like the 3 rounds added, I think, better here. Well, no, I don't. Now that I'm looking, maybe I don't. I don't know. So I did this to show you. I don't know if it makes enough of a difference for me to frog this entire leg because this took forever. That's all I'm gonna say about it. This took forever just because the nature of designing and working a mock-up, it requires a lot of frogging. And so because of that, that's where we are now. Side note, April, because you're here, I haven't forgotten about you with the other thing. I'm on top of it. I'm gonna get that done, even if it's a new you know, pattern or you know, giving you several of my existing patterns, comping them to you in lieu of what, you know, how long you've waited for me and been patient with me. So I appreciate that. Notice that we have a straight seam on the inner thigh, on the inner leg. This is critically important. I'm really anal about that. But that's where we are. That's the update I have for you guys today. So if you guys have any questions with regards to, you know, anything surrounding these, please let me know. But don't jump ahead. Like if it's something that's coming up, I will share that. But I did want you to see, you know, pretty much the finished product. Like this isn't the complete finished product just because I have not weaved in my ends yet. And you will have several optional items. Notice we don't have any Instapenis, but it's not skin tight. We do want it to be kind of snug at the thigh, so we're definitely going to do that. However, they are extremely breathable. They are extremely, and even with the length, it's really because of I didn't taper in a lot down here, which I didn't want because of the shoes. When I have the whole thing complete, sewn in the ends, I will show you guys the completed look. These were 4 as well as the shoes that it's meant to go with. But that's all.
This gonna be so quick, y'all. I just really wanted to take this opportunity. I've described this verbally several times. However, while I'm here, I just want to take this opportunity so you can see that my 2 panels. This is my long beginners panel, and you know, in the title, I did hashtag GOJ for graphed out joggers as well as bonus pants because your panel, the only difference between this panel and the panel for your graphed out joggers is the stitch. So and please accept that hint that I'm dropping. Accept the hint that I'm dropping of use whatever stitch you want. Just make sure that you're minding your measurements. So regardless to the type of stitch that you're using, your beginner's panel for this class or anything, if you're making pants like what you've learned while you've been here with us, once you get to this point, my 2 panel edges have been edged and seamed together, which you see here. Let's look at the other side. That's what you see here. Okay. Now, the crotch joining. A couple things that I just want to share. A part of it is inspired by the questions that I was asked yesterday by one of your classmates regarding the leg holes. And this part, I just really want to be very clear that you really need to like do some adjusting at this point. This is the best place. So at this point, I could still take down my back seam if I needed to add, say, another couple rows to the bottom. Now, why would I want to do that? Okay, so if you were to just take these stitch markers and join them, like make an imaginary crotch, if you will, then guess what you're now able to do? You are actually able to go ahead and measure your leg hole opening. And you can do this in half. So if I were to join, let's say I joined this stitch to this one, and then over here, so what did I do? I did 2 this direction, and then I want to do 2 this direction. So I joined this stitch marker here, right? So what that leaves is this space for my leg hole. So this means this is going to be where my entire leg is worked. Now, if I know the circumference of my thigh, then I can actually make adjustments at this point. And I do want to apologize for not covering this. This is one of those things that I thought was obvious. So I apologize for not explaining this earlier. But this is the point where you are able to make adjustments. There are a couple different ways, and you can look at the responses that I gave to the question posed yesterday. And I can't remember off the top of my head. It's too early for me to remember, but I don't want to say the wrong name. But I can't remember her name right off top. But she was asking me questions about her thighs at this point. So if I were to measure across here, then you're going to take your leg circumference. So for instance, my thigh circumference is 22, between 22 and 23 inches. And circumference, meaning all the way around. The circumference of the widest point of my thigh is between 22 and 23 inches. I don't have my tape measure in here, but we shouldn't need it because I'm really just showing you how to make your adjustments. So if I were to measure across here, and as always, I suggest you measure both unstretched or relaxed as well as stretched. Measuring stretch shows you how much give your joggers are going to have, or how much your pants are going to have. So I definitely recommend that you measure across. And of course, this measure across should be 11 inches, between 11 and 12 inches for me. Why? Because I just said that my thigh circumference all the way around is between 22 and 23 inches around, right? So half of that would be between 11 and 12 inches. So if I have between 11 and 12 inches going across here, then all I would do is multiply that times 2, because I would also have that here. And I know this is going to fit my thigh as I work my rounds once I start. Now, what happens if I don't? What happens if I don't want my pants when I'm wearing them to stretch that much? I really want them to just relax and lay. Well, in that case, you have a couple different options. I'm not a fan of this first option because I feel like everything I'm showing you here, you should have done before you joined your crotch. However, the first option, let me do it in another order. I'm not a fan of the second one. The first option would be to take down your back seam and add a couple more rows, one to maybe 3 rows to the bottom of your panel. Why? Because on our panel, on this panel, we're increasing every other row, but on our regular graphed out joggers panel, so on this panel, I would probably add like 4. Why? Because that would give me at least 2 additional increases. And I say that because we're increasing every other row. The half double crochet panel for our standard graphed out joggers for this class is to do an increase at the end of every row. So because we're doing an increase at the end of every row, if I remember correctly, y'all don't give me the line, then you may not need to add as many rows. But what does the increases, what that have to do with anything? Well, this width was created. Remember, we started with a measurement and then we increased to produce this to be long enough to fold under, which is where your butt is going to be, right? To fold under and then come forward to the crotch, right, to the front of the pant. So the reality is that if you were to make this longer, you would actually continue to come forward and this would be wider. So one other thing. So let's say that, you know, you measure and you like, ooh, I didn't want it that big. But all the rest of your measurements reach. So the ends of your panels reach your BVGB. This portion of your panel is your FVGB. And going across, maybe it's unstretched and it measures your the circumference of your thigh times 2. But let's say that you're like, oh, that's a little bit too loose. So another thing that you can do at the crotch point is actually join more stitches than my standard is for you to not do any more than for this particular project. This does not apply across the board with pants because you can mistake your way into Instapenis, which is just a bunching in the crotch, which is not attractive at all. My recommendation is that if you're starting, let's say you are starting with 4 stitches across. So currently I have 4 stitches marked off. You could actually increase those stitches to 6. So moving this stitch marker over an additional stitch on both sides, so this side, and then seaming that across. It's going to make my crotch a little bit wider, but it's also going to shrink my leg holes. So basically what I've covered here is going in both directions, how to increase or decrease. Notice, so I want to give you the other way of increasing your leg holes, the one that I'm not necessarily a fan of. So you have seamed up your butt crack, you have seamed up your crotch, and you're ready to start your legs. You have counted all of the stitches going around both legs to confirm that they are even and equal. And then you're like, ooh, when I measure, this is too small, or it's not as loose as I would like it to be. Well, what you can do is you can, so on a prior video, and I still stand by this, I told you that when you're working that first round, to strengthen the crotch, you want to crochet those stitches together right in the crotch. However, if you can absolutely and should, in garments, it's not if, it's when. You need to understand that there will be times where you need to work decreases and increases, maybe for shaping, maybe as in this case, for sizing purposes, and strengthening purposes. So in this example, we are going to crochet stitches together in order to strengthen the crotch, the joint crotch. We're also, though, going to work increases in order to adjust for sizing on the leg hole. So this would be one of those examples where you're doing both because they're necessary. They're not interchangeable the way that they are with some other types of crochet. With garments, usually increases and decreases, they serve a functional purpose. If we're able to make them fit into the design, then that's great. But generally speaking, increases and decreases do serve functional purposes. In this case, the functional purpose of the decrease would be strengthening the crotch, and the functional purpose of the increase or increases would be to widen the leg hole. Now, one other thing I want to say about widening the leg hole and increases is you need to figure out a game plan. And there is no one size fit all game plan. I have done everything from increasing right after my decrease or my 2 stitches together, my strengthening decrease, meaning I do the strengthening decrease when I start my work. I work increase right here. I work all the way around, and just before, in the last stitch, before I slip stitch to the first stitch, I work an increase again. I have done that. I have done where I said, okay, I'm going to do every 10th stitch, where I have done up to, and I've done 10 stitches and then continue to count, starting with that stitch as 1, and do another, and then do another. The key, this is the big key, is to make sure whatever the heck you do on the first one, take notes. You need to do the same thing in the mirrored spot, meaning the same spot on the opposite side, mirrored to this side, that you do. Otherwise, it is going to draw the eye when your work is done. When your work is done, you do not want your work to draw the eye of people who are looking at it. Not in that way. If something draws their eye, you want it to be because that was your intention, and that's what you meant to have happen, and not because, oops, I made a oopsie. right? I'm sorry, Ivy. Good morning. Grand rising to you. But that's what I wanted to come on for, basically because today I will be seaming my crotch together. I didn't do it yesterday because I've been working on another project. But that is what I have for you. You guys, listen, let me know if this was helpful, and definitely put your questions down in the chat pod if you have any, or if you need additional clarification. We can actually absolutely get into it, okay? I really want you guys to take advantage of the remainder of the time that you have here. We are up next. I'm going to start getting into, I plan on at least before the weekend is out, beginning to provide you with instructions on how we're going to work our mesh legs, okay? But I think we're going to go ahead and do the waistband first. Well, not the waistband. We're going to complete our shorts first, mainly because one of the things I recommended to you guys was that you can absolutely get another project out of these pants, these bonus pants, by stopping at the short point. Well, in order to do that, there are other steps that's involved. So I'm thinking that we're going to do those first, which is going to be adding to the top of our shorts once we have completed joining our crotch and doing our first round. So if it's shorts, that's going to be your finishing round. If it's pants, it's going to be your start of legs round. Or prepping for legs round, if you will. Okay, so I am going to talk to you guys shortly. I'll be back around in a little bit, and that's that. All right, peace out. Thank you for joining me.
Help! I'm being robbed!
Oh, wait, I was just sitting